Hi folks, and welcome to the channel, and in this video we're going to finish up the placement of the oak outriggers on the old ceiling. Then we'll remove the pine outriggers, and that's going to be a little bit of work because there's some huge nails in there. We remove the nails, and then we're going to look for planks that we'll place on the old ceiling. At one point the plank will serve as a ceiling surface, and on the other side of the plank that's going to be the floor at the attic so we can walk on it. So I want to have oak planks, and I don't want to buy them in a fancy store because they're way too expensive, but you'll see that there are alternatives, which is your local sawmill if you still have one, and I did have one. But we'll look on all that, and then we'll start to prepare those planks, because my planks have to be a bit different than the planks you normally find in a store. And then eventually we're going to start blasting that ceiling, cleaning it all up. So I hope you will enjoy this video as much as I do. And first of all, I'm going to finish my cup of tea, and then I'm going to get dressed or undressed and get ready to work. I'll see you there. You can go and buy your wood in any big warehouse, but that's typically very expensive. So let's have a look. And here we have some oak planks, but look at the price, $59.99. Now that's bloody expensive. And these are planks of oak, the same as the ones that I bought in the sawmill, but they have a teeth and groove connection, and that's something I can't use. There are cheaper options, but then again the wood isn't all that great. So I'm going to leave it for what it is, and I'm just going to head back home, and we're going to pick up the planks in the sawmill, because that is going to be a much better option and a lot cheaper, and I can build the planks the way I want to have them. I'm on my way to pick up the oak planks from the sawmill. That's always a good choice. So it's going to take me about half an hour drive, so that's not too bad. Well, we have arrived, and as you can see there's plenty of wood around. Really beautiful oak. He's picking it up, so it's going to take a few more minutes before we have the complete pack of oak planks. And it rains like hell today, as always. And finally, I got home. Unfortunately, it rained like hell. You've seen me looking at oak in the building store, and that was way too expensive. The wood was nice, it was all finished, but it was teeth and groove, so I can't use that, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I went to my local sawmill and I bought this whole pallet of oak. Now this is 80 square meters. It's more than what I need, but I only paid 9 euros a square meter. Now that is a huge difference. This is almost 1/5 of the price of the building store. So I don't mind that I need to buy more then, because this was a very good deal. And you can get these deals, but you have to get large volumes like this. Now, of course, these planks are not finished yet. They're still a bit rough. They may not all have the same thickness. It doesn't differ much, but there is a small difference, and there are no joints on them. There's no teeth, there's no groove, nothing. So we'll have to do all that, and the surface may not be what you want it to be, so we'll have to stick it through the planer. So the point I'm trying to say is, if you're into hobby work, invest in machinery. I did it, and then you can buy very cheap products, but very good products for a low price, and build the things all yourself. After a few times, your machines are paid off, believe me. Now, all what you've seen so far is all old machinery that I bought for peanuts, basically. Some of it they even gave to me because it was broken, and I tend to fix these things. Anyhow, if you're going to use oak in your house or construction work, one thing you must remember, it has to be dry. Now, as a rule of thumb, wood dries about 1 inch deep per year, and that's in the open air. And this oak has been drying for over a year in the open air. Now, of course, it got wet again because of the rain I had while I was transporting it home, but it's going to dry up very quickly. But if you're going to build doors and stuff like that in your house, then it better be dry, and the humidity should be no more than 12% in the wood. Otherwise, you're going to have issues because wood is going to shrink. Now, it typically doesn't shrink in the length, but it does shrink in the width and in the thickness. The length is almost neglectable. It does a little bit, of course, but it's neglectable. So let me show you now what we're going to do with these planks, because that's not the end of the story yet. Now I have to start creating my planks for my ceiling or my floor, because it's ceiling and floor at the same time. So let's take a closer look. So the planks I got are 14.5 centimeter, which is a reasonable nice width. I like to have them wider, but that typically becomes a problem because they will deform. So I'd rather keep them a bit more narrow. Now the thickness of those planks is about 2.5 centimeters, so that's about 1 inch. So in fact, these planks are cut to 1 inch. So they differ a little bit plank to plank, so we'll have to put it through the planer. Now let me show you something else. Now I said already before that teeth and groove is not going to work for me. I'm going to do half and half, and let me show you what that is. So the way I'm going to join these planks together is by cutting out this piece here, but not that big, of course, but I just want to show you for clarity how we could do that. And on the other side, but the opposite side, right? So that's important. Now, the next plank is going to be exactly the same. So this plank, this part here, will overlap with the bottom part of the other one. And that way the planks can live. And now you're probably going to ask me why I'm doing this kind of a cutout. Well, the issue is that the ceiling isn't all that straight. Now, a new ceiling, if you build a new house, you will have absolutely flat and straight ceilings, and then you have no issue to put tooth and groove planks into each other. But if the ceiling is not all that even, and some small variations, then it's going to be damn hard to put a long plank, teeth and groove into each other and nail it down. That's very tough. With this method, I don't have that issue. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to put all the planks through the planer so we have an equal thickness on all the planks, and it will at the same time clean up the surface. The cleaned up surface is the one that's going to face down, so it's going to be the ceiling. The top part, I don't really worry too much at this moment in time. I'm going to set the thickness to 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters. Now let's see, that should be about right. And then we'll lock it, and we should be good to go. This is smooth enough for the ceiling. It doesn't have to be more than this. And now I'm going to cut the edges. to make that lip on the plank, I'm first going to cut it in the length halfway through the plank, and then I will actually cut horizontally. So let us do that first, and we go for half of the plank, of course. So let me lower this guy and see how deep we need to have this. So let's have a look. Now I have the right depth, but of course I have to still cut it to the right width. So therefore I'm going to use my guide. Okay. And that distance will be a centimeter. So that should be good. Let me check it out. On my mark here. Yep, that's about right. Now we're going to give it one more cut in the opposite direction. So we've done a cut in the length of the plank on two opposite sides, and now we're going to cut horizontally. To do the horizontal cut, I'm going to put the horizontal saw blade on the router. Alright, that should be good enough. And now I can put the saw blade up. So I'm going to put the saw blade on, and I'm going to make sure it's pointing in the right direction because the router is turning that way. Now it's locked, and tighten it. And that's not it alone, because that's very dangerous, so we need protection around it. It takes forever to release these things. All right. Let's see how far it sticks out. I'm going to put a line up of 1 centimeter. So then I know that I'm cutting it deep enough. It needs a bit more backwards. That's it. You always cut better a little bit deeper than it's supposed to be. Okay, and now we need to have it 1 centimeter deep. Now let's adjust the blade so that it just cuts that 1 centimeter off. And I think that's about it. With all the guards in place, we are now ready to cut it. I just want to do one last check to see if it's free running. It is. All right, so let's start. So now you can see the cutouts, left and right and opposite. Of course, we still have to shorten the plank on the top because that is still not in the right dimensions. And this is the profile of the plank, and the second one will just fall in like that. You've seen me preparing the plank, and this was just one plank, and we did all the manipulations one after the other. Now, I'm not going to do this for every plank, of course. I'm going to work in a series. So first I'm going to do all the planing, then I'm going to do the length cut, and then I'm going to do the horizontal cut. Otherwise, it's going to take forever. So I'm going to do all this, and when all that is done, I'll let you see the end result when we are going to place the planks on the ceiling. But that's going to take a little bit of time before I'm in that state. So the last beam is going in, but they don't fit all, so it took a bit longer than I expected. So I need to chisel off a bit of the side to have it fit. So let's see. Yep, that will fit just fine. Perfect. I finally finished up putting the fill-in beams, and that took me quite a while. I didn't expect it to be that long, but I had to adjust the beams here and there, so that was a bit of work. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to show you the removal of the pine beams and the sandblasting. That will be for the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, and I'll see you in my next video. And thank you for watching. And please, by all means, provide comments. Bye-bye.